Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello everybody and welcome to the latest and slightly special edition of the Liverbirds podcast. I'm delighted to say we are almost all in the same time zone, which doesn't happen very rarely. But I'm pleased that I've got my regular Liverbirds with me, Randy and Amy Kate. So we are going to get right into it. Welcome, ladies. And let me start with you, Amy Kate. Liverpool 2022 FA Cup winners.
Oh.
What have you got to say?
My heart has finally stopped pounding. What an end. Oh my God. But we did it. So for once I'm kind of speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's just so overwhelming, but it was incredible. It was incredible.
It was the atmosphere at Wembley looked amazing as well again. Obviously, gutted, couldn't get a ticket and couldn't go, but there's a picture I think going around on social media. I haven't quite caught up with everything because there's so much going on. But literally it's just that you could just see a sea of kind of flares and red smoke at the end, just starting to cover the congratulations Liverpool sign. It's pretty cool, actually. I'll try and put it on our sort of chat later if you haven't seen it. But did you think before the game started that it was going to, in effect, end up a bit like the League Cup final? Were you expecting it to kind of go to extra time and penalties?
I guess in a way I kind of did, but was hoping it wouldn't. When it first came out, I'm like, okay, we got this. And it came out strong and Liverpool was dominating. I'm like, oh, maybe not. But by halftime, I realized, okay, this is how it's going to go. And I kind of had the feeling that it was going to be a repeat, but I was hoping it was the same repeat, not going the other way. Yeah. I was just, and you just couldn't help but just heart rates and stressfulness coming back in. And it was brilliant. It was good. And I can't complain, but they don't make it easy for themselves.
No, they don't make it easy for themselves. They don't make it easy for us to watch it. Randy, did you manage to hold it together watching them yesterday?
Oh, it was absolutely weird because I was sat here in my flat. I'm in the middle of a moving process. So I was sat here in all the mess with my brother and his wife. She's Mexican. And she hates penalty shootouts. So she started before the match to say, well, you know what? This is not going to have to end with that because I can't take it. And I was like, yeah, I can't take it either. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. And of course, here we go.
Here we go again.
It was a true nightmare. I mean, we were so stressed out. It was absolutely amazing. And then, looking into the first 20 minutes of the match, I thought we're going to win this 3-0, 3-1, whatever.
Yeah.
And it should have been 6-5, I think, if you count all the very good chances we had. They had loads of chances as well. We had a couple or three in the bar, in the actual goal. So, oh my God, why do we make this happen all the time? I don't know.
It was. I think I used the word torturous yesterday.
that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
It was just painful to watch. And the pub that I was in, so where we'd met people beforehand, like they'd all gone off to Wembley, but then as kick-off time got closer, it started filling up again with just like random people. So there were a mix of like Liverpool and Chelsea fans in there watching the game. And the longer it went on, the kind of the tenser I got, and it got to a point. We got to the end of normal time, or just before the end of normal time, and I said to like my friend who I was watching it with, I just said to him, I need to go and sit outside. I can't. I need to just like get away from this sort of thing. It's like the atmosphere is too intense. So I went and sat outside for a while. Then like we watched the first half of extra time. And then I said to him, I need to go. I'm not sure I can sit through another 15 minutes of this. And by that point, you could see everybody was like out on their feet. It was just because, and you thought at this stage, it just takes like one mistake, one slight, one lack of concentration, and it was just awful to think. And actually, when it got to penalties, I mean, it was, penalties is always an awful way to lose. I mean, it's incredible to win, but it is a bit of a lottery. And so I felt like, well, I can take that. If their goalie pulls off an amazing save, or we sky one over the bar or something, I could. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
But then yet again, it was just like, oh, come on, Mane, that's it. You just got to slot it. We've won the FA Cup, and I do wonder if, because it was his like Senegalese teammate,
he was
psyched him out, like or he just knew which way Mane would prefer to go. I don't know, but
apparently, can I just say, apparently that Klopp told him to do the other way than he normally does. So obviously he regrets saying that. Because I think if he'd just done like he normally does, he would have scored, But Klopp told him that. Probably he says this because he wants to take the pressure off him as well. But
yeah, and that is something that Klopp would do.
Yeah.
To take the pressure off one of his own players. But Klopp isn't like he's not somebody who lies. So he may well have actually said to him, or that maybe consider doing what you don't normally. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't picked that up. But
I didn't either. That was interesting.
But the good news is it didn't make any difference.
No.
Because Alisson, who I thought was magnificent throughout the game.
Absolutely.
There was the one-on-one with Alonso and various other things. But what a save that was, by the way, from Mason Mount. To sort of get his arm out. It was because of the direction that the ball went when he saved it. It was a little bit Dudek-esque, if you know what I mean. It went straight.
Yeah.
As opposed so yeah, and then for it to be down to the Greek Scouser, or sorry, as he said,
the Scouser Greek. Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he?
He is, and I don't know.
Go ahead.
There's different commentaries going around, but one of the commentaries I heard when he was coming up to take his penalty was saying, the FA Cup can throw up unlikely heroes, and this is the chance, for like Zuniga to sort of be that person. And I was delighted for him. There was a point where I thought, I don't think he even knows where he's going. He's just like running everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I don't know if I'd know where to go either.
Uh,
I
but
loved the photo of seeing him when they lifted him up, and all you see, you mentioned the smoke earlier. There was another photo that you see him on the back of the back side of him on the shoulders. It's full of smoke, and you just see his number. I mean, it was like you couldn't have made it a better picture, and that was it was great to see, and you're right. It was somebody different this time. It just shows how deep our bench is and how great our team really is. I mean, we know, but we're showing other people because I think people still underestimate us. I have this in my head. I just remember, watching this, and then feeling like at some point I was like, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do this. I turned around, like I can't watch the other team. And I had this emotional feeling after. I just had tears running down my face. I was like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed because I just had tears running down my face because I was so happy. And I used to make fun of kids. Like when I was a kid, I used to make fun of people. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're an adult. It's just a game. Why are you crying? And now I'm that person.
So I have so much admiration for their ability to find a way to just get through and to win. And by the way, I also have to say, Milner that late, coming straight in, and the penalty he took was just it was deter. I mean, he just like slammed that ball to the net.
Yeah.
I was great, but to the man, and I'm not, I was going to say I'm not going to pull anybody out, but can we just have a moment of appreciation again, please, for Luis Diaz?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. What a
Has
man.
He's just been phenomenal since he's arrived there. But I was saying to my friends like yesterday, I said, I wonder what Luis Diaz makes of this all. I said, he's turned up, he's been here 4 months, he's been to Wembley 3 times, won 2 trophies, and he's got the Champions League final. He must think this is football, this thing is a piece of kit.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. I mean, it feels like he's been there forever. I mean, we've had other players like that too. I mean, and maybe it's because his is so familiar right now. But I don't think anybody's fit in as well. And I've said that before, but I really, truly think that he's really fit in better than some of the others. And that says a lot.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, and I suspect him as well, expected him to just slot in as quickly as he has done, and for him to, in effect, be almost first choice now across the front three.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. Let's talk about the lineup. Were you guys surprised? I think if it wasn't Klopp, I would have been, what's going on here? But I just thought in my head, he obviously knows something I don't, and I'm going to go with it. I don't think I know I didn't have that confidence with other managers. But when I saw the lineup, I kind of thought, that's interesting. Didn't see that coming as having Diaz, up front.
You weren't expecting Diaz to start?
No, I guess I just didn't expect him to be, I guess, in the front. And I don't understand what Klopp's faith in Kate is, because I just don't have it in him. So
But remember, we had the injury to Fabinho. So, that's why Hendo had to play that position. And then how many people have you got from the bench then? So
you know what? You're right. I didn't think about that because I just thought, oh no, because he's just not. For me, he's just.
I thought Keita had a decent game.
He was
no, he did. But going into it, when I saw it, I was like, because he was horrific in the Real game. Villarreal game. Like he just, well, let's be honest, they all were. So the first half, so I can't really blame him. They all were just, what team are we watching? So, yeah, I was very nervous when I saw him starting. But you're right, I kind of was like, who's gonna play what? And this just shows again how deep our bench is when we're taking DS off, and Jota goes on, and Van Dijk comes off, and you're just like, okay, I can do it, no problem, because you know who's going to go in for them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really concerns me, and I haven't had a chance to see, is, Salah. This is the second time he's been injured in a final. I wonder how he's doing, and because there hadn't been anything, at least before I went to bed, come out yet. So I'm curious to see how he's doing and everything.
So there was one thing that I saw. So at Wembley, I think when they were leaving, and they go through whatever it is, like the corridor, and there were obviously some foreign journalists. Well, anyway, some journalists, and Salah was going through wheeling through his little cave, and they shouted to him and sort of said, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like, yes, I'm fine. And they said, are you okay for the final? And he said, of course.
Yeah.
And he just carried on like wheeling his thing through. Now, clearly I don't know the nature of the injury, what he went off with, whether it was precautionary or not, but he certainly seemed pretty confident that he would be fit and available.
Yeah. That's great to hear.
Klopp was reasonably upbeat about Fabinho, to say that he reckoned he would be back for the Champions League final. I mean, obviously, a body recovers how a body recovers. And Van Dijk, I think I haven't seen an incident, but I haven't, because we were out, and then all of my friends came back, and then I got back sort of relatively late last night. I haven't actually seen that much on social media, so I don't know what Van Dijk said, but Klopp, I did see something that Klopp said. It's a sort of slight muscle thing, but he thought it was okay. So I'm hoping, pardon me, that they will all be available for the Champions League final. I mean, the fact is that if and we'll come on to kind of preview other goals, but if Man City beat West Ham, I would be assuming he's putting our academy side out against Southampton, because frankly, the league will be gone, and why take the risk? Play Oxlade-Chamberlain, play Simicast, play Joe Gomez, etc.
Yeah.
And get them game time for the last two games of the season to keep them sharp, alongside the sort of the first team starters. So now conversely, if West Ham twat Man City 5-0, then it gives Klopp a slightly different dilemma, because the league is still theoretically possible. Then if we just need to turn up and beat Southampton 8-0 or something.
Yeah, but
oh dear. But it's the middle of May, and we still have the chance of 4 trophies. I mean, that is truly extraordinary. Do you not think? For us to be here and be going to play every single game we could possibly play. So yesterday was the 60th game of the season for us.
Oh,
I mean, that's just mad, and we haven't finished yet.
No.
Oh my word. So what, other than obviously Simicast scoring the winning penalty, do you have a favourite moment from the FA Cup final yesterday that either of you would like to share?
Honestly, it was so overwhelming, and just seeing the game, and I got to see it here because I was in Cardiff. I'm still in Cardiff today. So for me, it was just fun to be able to be you know, in the UK to see how they watch it, because I've always watched it at home in California. So this was my first time watching a final, not with my supporters group, which I missed them, you know, but it was a cool experience to see how people handle it. You know, I was actually the only person wearing a Liverpool shirt. There was lots of Liverpool people in there, but I didn't know at first. I was like, is there anybody in here? There was one person that came in with a Chelsea shirt that didn't even seem to be there. Came at like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes into the game. It didn't even stay for the game, and he was with his partner. And that was it. And me. And people kept going, we love your shirt, we love your shirt. But it was weird because, you know, back home in California, I mean, we all show up in Liverpool shirts and, you know, we're ready to go, you know, we're cheering on. And that just shows the difference between watching it in America and watching it in the UK.
I don't, I rarely wear colours to a game. I haven't done for years now. And it, you know, occasionally with like semi-final, I might bring out my scarf or something. But I will wear like, you know, like local independent apparel for games. So, you know, whether we're talking about, you know, Threads for Reds or, you know, Love Follow Conquer or, you know, Red Men merch or whatever it might be.
Right.
Hat, scarf and a badge. So I will generally wear something that is Liverpool, but it will not necessarily, it won't be like a shirt. But so yesterday, because I bought myself, I thought, oh, I'll buy myself something, you know, ahead of Paris. So I debuted my latest top, which just says "Choose life, choose Origi."
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
You have to send us a picture. I want to see that.
So I was wearing that one yesterday, and obviously it wasn't unlucky. So I will.
That's good.
I may take that to Paris with me as well. But anyway, that was. I would have loved him to have come on the pitch actually. But you know, maybe Klopp is safe for the Champions League final.
I was really hoping he was going to come on in the, you know, the minutes that was left, because in extra time, because I thought, you know, we have to finish this. We can't take another pen.
Yeah.
So I was screaming for Origi, and no, it didn't appear. But can I just mention Alisson? Because I thought that, I mean, you know, he's the best goalkeeper we've ever had, I think, in modern days anyway. But he is the best one outside, you know, going out in the field, playing with the ball, being very clever and all that. Yeah. And the way has saved us so many times lately. I mean, all the games. But I've never trusted him on the line in the penalty shootout. So I always scream for Mignolet when there's a pen, because he was a lovely shot stopper on the line.
Yeah, he was. And he didn't get enough credit for that either.
No, but that was all he could do, though. So now we have the other way around, you know, and I think that Alisson was not going to be blamed if we didn't win it. But that save was just absolutely magnificent. It was so good.
It was. It was a brilliant save. But I thought he had a fantastic game. His positioning, you know, like I said, his sort of, you know, restarting play, quick distribution, and just his all, you know, he just instills so much confidence as a goalkeeper. So even if they do break through the back line, you feel that Ali, more often than not, is going to get better. Is going to get the better of whoever he's on a one-on-one with.
Yeah.
And that's a brilliant position to be in as well. For to have so much confidence in your back line.
Absolutely.
Now we know that we obviously in the lead up to this we played two games in quick succession. We obviously had the draw against Spurs at Anfield, which was disappointing because we really did need to get the 3 points
Hmm.
to keep the pressure on Man City. And then, I'm going to use the same word again, the tortuous game against Aston Villa,
Yeah.
who played us like they were playing us in a Champions League final. But we managed to get over the line. So um, obviously we also had the benefit we actually all saw each other. We were physically in the same place for the first time I think ever.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a brilliant
for
day.
the first game. So it was brilliant to be able to catch up. But and if we just think back to that, one of the things that struck me, and then we talked about it a little bit, but um, you know, Spurs came obviously with a game plan set up, quite defensively, not unlike Chelsea to an extent, and we're looking to hit us on the counter attack, and it just felt like to an extent in that Spurs game we ran out of ideas. Um, Randy, you were obviously, you were that one, so you didn't manage to get into the stadium, but watching it where you were watching it, what were your thoughts about how we played against Spurs?
Well, I thought our first half of first part of that game was like we were amazing. So I was quite nervous in front of the game because I thought Spurs they could show up, we know their threats, but we were overwhelming them. Our tempo, our pressing was the best I've seen in ages. And I thought this is going to be, we're going to win this nicely. We had so many chances and we were hardly losing the ball. And if we were winning it back straight away. So we were keeping it and winning it and keeping it and pressing. But we have to score our chances. So it felt like when it came into the second part of the first half, I thought, shit, this is going to be one of those. And it was in a way. Of course, we didn't lose, but it was very disappointing we couldn't score a goal. And of course, when Diaz did his goal, you could see the passion he has and the will to win.
Mm.
You know, just so happy for him and us. But oh, I just wish Son was on our team. To be honest, he's a
Well,
magnificent player, and it was a disappointment I mean, the whole game was because we should have won that.
yeah, I mean, I thought that, I know that people saying, oh, Klopp's moaning about, how Conte's set up. He wasn't moaning about it. He was saying, in my view, he was saying, that Spurs, performed very well, set up very well in terms of how they wanted to play. All
Yeah.
he was saying was that's not how he would set his team up. But you can't dictate how other teams are going to play and how other coaches want to set up. It was down to us to find a way to break through. And Amy, Kate, from my perspective, we just kept crossing the ball and crossing the ball and crossing the ball. And, Romero and a couple of other Spurs players, I mean, they were just, they were clearing everything, throwing their bodies in front of everything. And it just felt to me like we needed to do something different, to give them something different to think about,
Hmm.
because, they were just expecting us to do that because we just kept on doing it.
I kind of feel like you know, they knew how we play. I mean, we became a little bit predictable for them. It was interesting. So I was actually at the game and I sat the lower main stand, but towards Annie Rhodes, we were right next to the Spurs fans, and God, they were vile. But it was like it was a little bit distracting, and to have that right there, because they were constantly, you know, I don't even know what they were singing half the time. But, you know, the first half, it just seemed, not that we were playing well, but also, I felt like Tottenham definitely, they were giving us, you know, just as good. And we just didn't seem to be able to, like, finish. We're struggling with finishing scoring. And then, of course, when we were going towards the Kop, I'm at the complete other end. So I'm counting on kind of the reaction of Anfield at the other end, because I couldn't see, you know, I'm short and I'm in way other end. So the other second half for me was a little bit difficult to really say anything about, because I felt like I was, you know, that's the one thing, the benefit of being in the stadium is awesome, but also when you're watching it on TV, you can see things that you wouldn't when you're, you know, in the stadium. So it was a different perspective.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a different perspective. And it just felt like there was, you know, it felt dangerous every time that they broke.
Yes.
And it's like it was a little bit, predictable is probably a good word, but you know, we weren't using our game intelligence where before, I don't know, maybe just, you know, get to the end of the season a bit tired, but you know, more often than not, we've sort of started to try something a little bit different if something isn't working, and we just didn't appear to do that against Spurs.
Well, you also have to think about, and I don't know if this really, how much this comes into play, but if you look at our schedule, because of all the tournaments that we're in, you know, because we're playing in Champions League, we're still in FA Cup at the time, you know, we were in everything. So we were playing every couple days. And I think that's taking a toll on them as well. So, you know, that does come into play. It's not like we're playing once a week, you know, and we're going here and there too. It's not like it's down the road. I mean, we were just in Spain, and then, you know, then we're going down to Wembley, and there's a lot more than just playing football, and there's a lot of mental toughness that they've got to do and deal with injuries, and it's a lot.
And that's why I thought, you know, I was surprised we had all that energy for the start of the game against Tottenham, because I was like positively surprised about that. Of course, when you look at the other game, I think a couple of days later, I was negatively surprised that we actually didn't have any energy. So,
well, the thing about it. So let's talk about the Villa game. So I was at Villa Park, and that, I think actually the word I would use, particularly in the first half, it just felt chaotic. It felt like almost like a five-a-side game. It was so open. And Villa got that early goal. We just looked a little bit shell shocked, to be honest.
Yeah. I was.
And I was sort of, I was standing there going, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Because it just felt like we were kind of the arbiters of our own downfall. We just didn't, we didn't start the way I thought we would start, and then, like I said, it became this like end-to-end game, which we didn't need to be involved in. But luckily we got the quick equaliser through Matip. But it was just, and you've always got your conspiracy theorists and like mad people out there, and I'm sure there's people who reckon that Gerrard would roll over and get his team to just stroll around and what have you. And anybody who knows Gerrard knows what a competitor he is. He was never going to give us an easy ride.
Right.
And so it turned out to be. My only hope is that they give Man City as hard a time as they
right.
But
I have no doubt, though, he will, or they will. It's not just him.
But it was just it felt it felt like a really strange first time. You know, it got to half time, and I remember sort of turning and saying to my friend Paul, who was next to me, just saying to him, "Well, that was a weird first half." I said, "This is a really strange game. I was not expecting this at all."
Yeah.
And then the second half was just I don't know. It felt like really, really hard going, and fair play to Villa for making it like that. I mean, they never, they never stopped. But once again, Diaz, found a bit of space, put a great cross in. Mane, that downward header, but just, but then then it just felt like we were on a knife edge for the rest of the game.
Yeah, nervous.
And it was like 4 minutes of injury time, and then it was like 6 minutes, and we were still playing. And it was just.
It's like, is it ever going to end?
I know. Was it ever going to end? I mean, I thought that Diaz and Mane were probably probably our best offensive players on the night, and I thought that Alisson, again, like he pulled off so many saves. I know, rightly they had the goal pulled back for offside, but he really kept us in that game against Villa, because they were at points they were swarming all over us. Like I said, it felt like Gerrard had told them this was their cup final, and to basically just go for it and not worry. So yeah, it was chaotic. It's the best description I could come up with for that game.
But can I say the ref didn't help either? I mean, he can hardly run. It was such a bad game. Yeah.
Is that Tierney again? I can't even remember who the referee was, but I thought
it's the chubby one. The chubby one. It's this last season,
Sorry,
and so
I
it
don't
should
know why
be.
I found that funny, but I did.
But he's so slow, and he can't watch anything, and he's too far away, or he can't be bothered to do his whistle or whatever it is, because it happens.
Got no breath left.
I know. Oh,
we really do have some horrible referees, considering we're we're meant to be the best league in the world. Premier League is supposed to be the top league, yet we are the worst as far as referees. I mean, they don't. I could be wrong, but I don't think a single English referee, or should I say British referee, will do like a Champions League or anything. They don't qualify because they're not good enough. It says something, It says so much.
Yeah. So the last World Cup, well, it would have been Russia, wouldn't it? The last World Cup. Yeah. I don't think there was there wasn't a representative from the Premier League.
No, there was not.
In all of the officials from all around the various leagues, because they were that bad. They haven't got any better. What I would say is I thought the referee yesterday had a good game, actually. Craig Pawson, and I normally I think he's shit. I actually thought he was decent yesterday, because we're not really talking about him at all, which in my mind means
that says a lot.
Had a good game.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
But generally, I think the only semi-decent one we've got is Michael Oliver, and even he's not brilliant, but he's in my mind, he's head and shoulders above the rest of them. Paul Tierney is appalling. He's disgraced as a referee.
Yes.
He should have his license revoked, or whatever you do to become a referee, because I'm sure he's the referee who didn't give that handball against Rodri, amongst many other things. when City played Everton. But anyway, he's yeah. I think he should find another line of work, would be my suggestion to him, because I don't think this is suited to him.
I can't even argue with that. I'm laughing because I'm like, so true. You couldn't have put it any better.
So we've got Southampton and Wolves coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've got a really quick turnaround after the FA Cup final. Still don't understand why they put Southampton on a Tuesday when they could have put it on a Wednesday, considering that we're playing on the Sunday. But we are where we are. Now, also with the injuries we appear to have picked up, and we hope they are precautionary. What team are you expecting us to put out against Southampton on Tuesday? And let me start with you, Randy. What sort of rotation are you expecting to see?
Well, as you said, if we've still got things to play for in the Premier League, it will be interesting to see, because will Salah, will Virgil, Fab is not ready. What are we doing with the front three? The only part that we are quite short in, I think, is midfield. So Jones has played lately. He'll probably get back in. What about Ox? I mean, I haven't seen him play for ages. I think we have to look at how tired they are, because it looked yesterday, and of course after the extra time as well, it looked like we had a lot of tired players running around out there. So I don't know, but if we still have something to play for, it's going to be very interesting. If not, I think we're going to play our bench and
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I do. Amy, Kate, who would you potentially expect to see on Tuesday then?
I agree with Randy and what we talked about. It really just depends on what we have to play for, because if the league is no longer a possibility, it doesn't make sense to put a full team out, when we still have the Champions League. So, but we're not there yet. We still have a tiny little spark of hope left. But giving some of the players, we have such a great deep bench that I could see them. I mean, I could see Ox playing. I mean, that's not a he's not a bad player. He can. I wouldn't even be surprised if they rest Salah and or Mane and have them on the bench, and then if we need them, they'll come in, and I'd be okay with that. I'm saying too much. So American. Anyway, I see that got pointed out to me recently. You Americans, you say a lot. Yes, we do. So again. So I have faith in Klopp, and I do think that it really just depends on how City play, really. We kind of have to pay attention to that as well, because if they are still dominating, hopefully not, but most likely will, then we have to consider what we have to play for, and that would be Champions League.
Yeah, and Real Madrid have pretty much had their feet up for the last week or so.
Right.
So they've won La Liga. They're just kind of chilling out now, preparing themselves for the Champions League final. So we do need to take that into account. I personally don't expect Van Dijk or Salah to play. I don't think they'll be risked, and I wouldn't expect to see them on the bench. So I'm expecting that Matip and Konate will probably be our centre back, unless they decide to play Gomez at the centre back, and then bring what's his name, the young boy, or play Milner
Gomez
at right back. Potentially play Milner at right back, Samikas at left back, rest Robertson. I think the midfield, you're right. I think we will need to have like Henderson. I would think Henderson would at least play part of the game, but
Mhm.
I would probably it wouldn't surprise me if it was Henderson and Jones and another. I don't know whether he would start with Thiago. He might rest Thiago. I mean, he took Cater off after about 17 minutes, and maybe Cater would start the Southampton game. But then the front three, I would probably play Minamino, and I would play Jota and maybe Bobby as a
Yeah.
front three.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bobby needs some minutes back in his legs. I think now he's sort of got some good training under his belt.
Yeah,
So I
we
think that might be a good game for him to maybe
could
play.
even put Origi in there.
So I would I start I might start Origi actually. So yeah, and
Against
obviously
Southampton, I could see that.
yeah, and then you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who one has to assume he'll be going at the end of the season, but I'd like to see him get a few minutes before the season is over. So the Southampton game seems like a good option. Minamino, in terms of his sort of goals to game ratio, is really, really good. You know, he doesn't get many minutes, but when he gets chances, he seems to finish them. And I think we need somebody who's a bit more clinical at the moment. We seem to be taking a lot of chances to score a small number of goals at the moment. So anything we can do to try and narrow the goal difference, assuming that we've still got the league to play for on Tuesday. So yeah, I've got that, and then clearly, we've then got the last game of the season against Wolves. I just think it's going to be a party atmosphere at Anfield, regardless now, because either we still be going for the lead, or we'll be sending the team off to Paris to try and win number 7. So I'm just really really looking forward to Sunday. Actually, I mean, I find the Wolves fans quite unpleasant, to be honest, but where I sit in the COP, I won't really hear anything that they've got to say. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the team through the game, and then be able to give them a proper lap of honour for what they've done this season, and send them off to Paris in good heart. So
Yeah.
I think that will be fun. I am looking forward to going up to Liverpool on Sunday, I have to say. So we have covered quite a lot of stuff over the last thing, but what we haven't talked about, two things in any detail. So one is the announcement, I don't know, maybe it's a week, 10 days ago now, that Jurgen Klopp has signed a new deal.
Yay! That was so good.
We have 4 more years of Jurgen being a Red as a minimum, maybe. And also to talk about, just spend a little bit more time on the Champions League final. So, Amy Kate, are we going to build a statue to Ulla Klopp now?
Well, okay, being biased, like, let's do it. But I mean, I could see that happening at some point, but if they don't have one yet of Kenny, I don't see that happening soon. Look how long it took him to get his name on the stand. They don't do things quickly sometimes with Liverpool, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think he'd want that, to be honest. I don't. He's such a humble man that he didn't want a song singed after him, and now everybody's singing the song. I would love to know what he thinks of that. I'm sure he kind of gets a kick out of it, but I don't know if he really likes it. I think it's probably too much.
I think, when he after he signed his deal, didn't he sing a little bit of his song?
Yeah, he did.
He did,
I
yeah.
I think he quite likes it.
He loves
I
it.
think I think deep down he loves it. I
Yeah.
see Randy.
Fair
You
enough.
know,
I also love
he
the
may
fact
not
that
want us to sing it as much as we do, but I think he likes his song.
Yeah.
well, I think I loved the fact that, he talked about how he sat down with his wife and she couldn't see them leaving. And so now she's, so there's banners about her. And it just, I
Yeah.
loved how that just, the wit of the Scousers and the fans, they don't miss a beat. And real quick, boom, it's there. And anytime anything happens, there's a banner, and they're brilliant. So I do love that about our club, is that we don't miss anything. Somebody's going to get it, and
Yeah.
just So that was great, and seeing all of those things, and it's for every great man, there's a woman behind them that they don't see, and she's got just as much involvement in the sense behind the scenes, I'm sure, with supporting him. So nice to see that.
Yeah, I mean, Randy, what do you think that gives to the squad, and also potential new signings, that we know that Jurgen's going to be here for another 4 years?
Yeah, I think it's so important. And it has been talked about as well, the fact that and not just for the players that are there, but of course the ones that wants to come. That is really assuring, isn't it? And also for the staff. And
Mm-hmm.
Klopp talked a lot about the staff. And he was also asked if he was negotiating his salary and stuff like that. And he said, well, that didn't have to be done because I'm having enough. But what he was negotiating was for his staff and for everyone else to be there and to make sure that they get the best staff in the time coming up as well. And I think it is a lot about that. It is for the whole club, isn't it? That to know that he's going to be there, to know that he's going to continue his work, and for the new players, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm wondering, what's behind now, what's coming up now, because Salah and Mane's contracts are discussed, of course. And is that going to play into this at all? Is new players coming? It's very exciting to be a Liverpool fan these days. And of course, that sort of helped a lot for me, because although it was 2 years time until he was going to leave, wasn't it? But just to know that we don't have to think about that. It's so nice.
For another 2 years.
Yes, exactly. Let's keep doing this until he's 90.
Yeah.
It's just reassuring for the whole club, isn't it?
It is.
I don't want him to go anywhere.
It really is reassuring, and he, if he sees that this contract in its entirety, then he will have been here, I don't know, 11 years, I think, or something like that. Which, outside of if you look at sort of Shankly and Paisley and stuff, that's the sort of length of time you're talking about, and that's that's longevity. That gives you a real foundation, and we can already see like what he's done and what he's built, and we have to give FSG some credit on here as well. But I do believe we are potentially coming into we already in a magnificent era for this club, and I do think we'll go from strength to strength. Sadly we have to compete with the sports washing might of Man City, and I'm not negating Guardiola's ability as a coach. But it is a bit of a skewed landscape. Nevertheless, the fact that we are competing so hard with Man City, when you look at the comparative resources available to us, I think is just a testament to us. And let's not forget actually, without us, this would be a procession,
Yeah.
right? This would be like Liga or the Bundesliga, with Man City 25 points ahead of anybody else,
Yeah.
and the rest of us scrambling around for a Champions League place. And I can't believe that the Premier League is sold on the fact that it's so competitive and any team can beat any team. Well, at the moment, that is, that's not strictly true, really,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when it comes to Man City. But the standards we've set have meant that we're able to go toe to toe with them. So you would have thought that, whether you like Liverpool or you don't, that at least there's somebody bringing the
Yeah.
fight for Man City. Is a really important thing. Whilst other teams, try and catch up and make themselves more competitive. So, I, I think without that, like I said, I think it would be a very, very boring Premier League.
Yeah.
So I pat us on the back for that. But yes, I'm absolutely delighted that Jurgen is staying, and also the fact that he spoke to his staff. They all said they want to sign up, and to your point, Andy, Randy said he didn't, wasn't interested in the pay rise, happy with the money he's got, give the money to his staff, which
Yeah.
they did, and that to my mind is the sign of a great leader. So we are lucky to have him, and I'm so glad that Jurgen is a Red.
Yeah.
um, so last but not least, got a date in Paris in a couple of weeks' time.
Yay! I'll be back home in California watching with my group, which will be great because I haven't seen them in almost a month.
Oh.
So
Are you going to Paris though?
I'm going to Paris. Yes,
Yeah.
I am
Yay!
Paris.
Will you be, Randy? Will you be back in Norway?
I'll be in Norway, yeah. You'll represent us, Gay.
I will represent you. I will be in Paris.
Represent all of us.
Yeah. And this is what I would call a heavyweight European clash. Liverpool
Absolutely.
against Real Madrid in a Champions League final. That's proper European royalty. And we've got the wily old fox in on the dugout for Real Madrid in Ancelotti. And you have a team that believe, the Champions League is their playground. So it's going to be a hard game.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we could talk about Benzema as he's been phenomenal this season. But you have Kroos, you have Modric, you have Carvajal, you have Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo. They've got great and up and coming players all across the pitch. But I do like our matchup, kind of man for man, and we're European. The European stage is also the one on which we shine as well. So, um, are you excited? Are you nervous? What do you think is going to happen? Randy, let me start with you on this one.
Oh, of course, very excited. Absolutely. And as you said, I was wishing for them. I was wishing for us to have an opportunity to do revenge, as Salah said. Trouble is, they know how to play this game. And they're a bit sort of they're arrogant about it as well, and that pisses me off. The shirt with the number 14 after they won in Madrid, it's like, oh, rub it in. They're so arrogant about it. So I'd love for us to have a revenge, actually. And if everyone is fit, and if we play our best pressing game and our best tempo game, I think we can push them over a bit, because they're a bit old. They're getting on, so if we can keep our tempo up. But that is our last game, so we're going to be so tired. But if everyone is fit, I think we have a brilliant chance. And if not, we can always hope for a lovely Barcelona moment again, The never give up
Yeah.
t-shirts and just go for it, So Origi will do the business in the end.
Well, we'll have basically just under a week, Amy
Yeah.
Kate. So we play Wolves on Sunday, and then
The following Saturday.
we pretty much know that all the last games, so are on the Sunday, and then we play Real Madrid on the following Saturday. So, we've got 6 days, and I know that I said earlier Real Madrid have sort of got their feet up a bit, which I do think is true, but I would also, I suppose I'd pose a question to you. We'll kind of be battle hardened. Do you know what I mean? We will just be used to be playing.
Yeah.
So maybe we will be tired, but maybe we'll also be a little bit sharper because we're just on this roll. We're just playing, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're playing 2 days a week for about 7 months now.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's a final. It's Champions League. It's against Real. I mean, you couldn't have written this any better. It's the revenge, like Masala said, and I really did want to see. I wanted to see this matchup. I didn't really want to play City. I mean, I happily play to be in the final. Happily play. It didn't matter who it was, but this was ideal. I don't know how it's gonna, pan out. I'm not going to, speculate because I don't want to. I'm not really superstitious, but I don't want to jinx anything. I just want to, it is what it is. But I really think that we have such a great team, and the momentum that we've put through, and with how, I mean, I have faith in us, and if it doesn't work out, okay, we can still hold our heads high, but I see us coming home with number 7. I'm wishing for number 7.
And I sincerely hope you're right. I do, but what I do think is this is a proper glamour tie, and it's like between us, like you say, we've got 19 Champions Leagues between us, those two teams. I wish that we had a few more, but Real Madrid had a few less. But regardless, we are two of the most decorated European sides in history, and I think it's going to be a cracking final.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see it. So
did you get a ticket, or are you just going to be in Paris to soak it all up, or are you actually going to be there?
So I will be in Paris to soak it up. I didn't get a ticket in the ballot. I'm on the waiting list.
Okay.
I'm not particularly optimistic that they'll get down to my number on the waiting list, but at least I'm not like one of my friends, like their position on the waiting list is 13,000. So I'm quite a bit further up the list than that, but I still don't think they'll get to me. So I'm still trying, I'm trying various routes to see if there's any chance of getting a ticket. I don't expect to get one, like I said, because it's a glamour tie. It's Real Madrid against Liverpool. It's in Paris. Who wouldn't want to go to that game? So the likelihood of, there being any spares is minimal. Plus the fact that UEFA have given us such a tiny allocation.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing.
Ridiculous.
Whole other thing. And I mean, it's a disgrace, but but bearing in mind UEFA going on about how they save football and it's for the fans, it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
It's an 81,000 capacity stadium. They've reduced the capacity to like 75, 76, and the two teams have got less than 20,000 between them.
That's ridiculous.
So the rest of it goes to the sponsors and the football family. I mean, what the fuck? What?
Who's the football family if not the fans?
Yeah.
oh no, it's all of the other federations and the this and the that. It's and bearing in mind these are the same people who have now are going to like butcher the Champions League again. We these new proposals that come in that we've talked about before. So yeah, UEFA can go fuck itself, frankly.
Yeah.
Uh, but that notwithstanding, I will be in Paris because um, we'd already made our arrangements. We were gonna go, if we got to the final, and so we're going. So there's a number of us who are going. We don't
Oh,
have
that's
tickets,
brilliant.
but we're just gonna go and have a party and soak up the atmosphere. And I'm really looking forward to it. Um, so yeah, so fingers crossed we come home with number 7. That will be a brilliant end to the season. I mean, you know what? It still could be 4. It's definitely got a chance of 3. Um, and for us to be able to say that, like in the middle of May, I just, nothing but praise for this team. So
Yeah. And we could
we
still have a
are
parade, couldn't
coming to
we?
the end. We've got any other
No, we
business?
didn't.
So, Amy, Kate, any other business for you, my dear?
Well, since the season's over, but I just want to talk about the women again. And
Of
they
course.
are now back to the top flight, and that's brilliant. And they deserve it, and they earned it. And so a big shout out to the Liverpool women's team. And then the other little thing that was very cool, because everybody knows that I'm a big advocate of that. So I run a supporters group. There's 314 of them around the world, and we just had our black tie dinner May 6th before the Tottenham game, and it was really kind of cool to meet up with all the different supporters all around the world. There's 46 countries represented. There's over 500 people, but also Matt Beard, the coach, and Russ Fraser were there. He is the managing director, I believe. I might have his title wrong. And I saw them, and he saw me like looking, and so he waved, and I went over and had a chat with them, and it was just really cool to be able to have a conversation with them and talk about the women, and he wanted to know what they could do for us fans to support them, and it was really a cool experience. And so he did a speech, Matt Beard, and I had told him I had a scarf, and so he asked me, he's like, can I have the scarf before I go up? And he wore my Liverpool Supporters Club scarf for Carlsbad, which is the team or the supporters club that I run in California, and he wore it up there. And then the next day I was at the match, and at halftime they did a parade with the trophy with the women.
Yeah,
and
that was great.
And it was so great to see that they recognized that. And we were right where the tunnel comes at on the side where Tottenham, where Annie Road and the main stand come together. There's that tunnel, and they came out there, and I was just right by. I was about 4 seats over, and the steward said, "Oh, you can go, look," because I asked if they were going to come back in, and they were making their rounds around the field, and then Matt and Russ were coming back through before everybody else was. They were still out on the pitch, and I was standing there, and I yelled Matt, and he looked up, and him and Russ came kind of running over and waving to me, and reached up to me and shake my hand, and I thought, that's so cool, really getting in with the fans. And I thought, can't remember me from last night. It's a little different when you're in a gown and your hair and makeup, and now you're in a football shirt.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good experience. It was so fun to soak all that up and be in Liverpool for all of that. So yeah, I'm just really pleased.
And on that point, so it was great to see them get the acknowledgement and grab. But the other thing is that we should not also ignore that the under 23s, I think, won the senior Lancashire Cup as well.
Yes.
So congratulations to them as well.
That's our future.
Yeah, we're doing it all across the various teams in Liverpool at the moment. So thank you for that, Amy, Kate. Randy, any other business from you?
Well, I just realized on social media that after the match yesterday, Mo Salah has brought in, or wheeled in rather, a friend of him from the Egyptian team that is injured or he's got an illness. So he was wheeled into the dressing room celebrating with all the players and holding the cup and everything, the trophy and
Ah,
everything. And it was so sweet. And it also sort of reminds me of that that Mo Salah, he is a very empathic guy, and it should not just be about he isn't scoring goals. Is he going to sign the paper? He is a part of the club. He is a big part of us, and he's such a lovely man. So I thought that was a really nice moment to share.
Oh, well, thank you for Randy, because I hadn't seen that. I hadn't spotted that. I am going to go and consume some social media after we finish that and before I head off to my class. So I will make a point of looking out for that. My only any other business is to basically say I am so proud of this team. I'm so proud of what they've done this season. The mental fortitude as well as the sort of physical ability to get to where we've got to. Just I find incredible, and I just want to thank them for giving us a season like no other thus far. It may still turn out to be unbelievable. It may still turn out to be fantastic. It may just be very, very good, but nobody can say we haven't been on a ride of just immense proportions. So long may it continue, and
Yeah.
who knows what the future will bring for next season. But thanks boys. It's been fun, I have to say. So with that, we're gonna draw to a close. Thanks ever so much, Amy, Kate, and Randy, for joining me. It was a slightly early start for us this morning, but I think it was well worthwhile. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will be back. We may well do something after the Champions League final if we can work out a date for us to all get together. But in the meanwhile, enjoy the rest of the season. It could still be something very, very special. And we'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks for listening.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.